Hey, do you struggle with self-judgment or judgment of your partner or your kids that blocks you from enjoying them and co-creating with them? You struggle with reactivity, get heated and frustrated with like your kids or your partner, which breaks connection and kills the fun over what in hindsight really wasn't a big deal? Over my next few videos, I'll show you powerful ways to recognize how we all are living in our own virtual reality and some practical tools that you can use today to end many of the painful conflicts with the people you love and avoid damaging your kids' self-esteem and motivation. If you'd like to learn more about how we accidentally undermine our kids' self-esteem and motivation, check out these other Mercury Coach videos by my partner Jen that are linked below. But first, do you want to learn more about the secrets of your deep mind and how to masterfully program it to create your dream life? Then hit the subscribe button below and keep up with everything I'll be sharing about mastering your mind. But before I begin today, if you struggle with reactivity, if you struggle with self-judgment or judging your kids, I want you to know that you're not alone. I think you see it everywhere on the playground, in stores. Jenny, get over here. Damon, don't be so selfish. These reactions are totally normal, given we're all living in our own virtual reality. It's like we're wearing virtual reality goggles all the time, and we're seeing and feeling and experiencing things that may or may not actually be real. You are, your partner is, your kids are, only your kids' goggles are much smaller, but they do get thicker with age. And the thing that sucks is you can't take the damn things off. But what you can do is reprogram those glasses to literally change what you see, hear, and feel. And that will totally change how you react. In the first video of the series, I'll begin to reveal simple and effective ways to understand how those VR goggles of yours are actually working and how to start reprogramming your goggles, or really how to reprogram your deep mind so you can experience your family as they really are, not your virtual projection of them. I'll even share with you how to understand how other people's goggles work and how to work with them so that other people will experience much more of the real you, not their virtual projection of you. Now listen, what I'm about to share with you can make a huge difference in your life, how your loved ones experience you and how you experience them. This knowledge transformed my life, and I know it will transform yours if you put it into practice. This video is just the beginning. Over the series, I'm going to go deep into how we perceive the world and how to transform that perception. If you need help or clarifications, put your questions on this or on any of the future videos in the series, and I will do my best to support you. And make sure to subscribe now so you get the full impact from all the knowledge I'm going to share. We're going to dive pretty deep, so go ahead and buckle up. I'm Ryan, and I'm a master practitioner and trainer of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. I'm a master hypnotherapist and NLP coach, and I'm an expert in programming the deep mind. I teach and I heal leaders, entrepreneurs, and parents, people just like you, so you can harness your innate gifts and break through anxiety and overwhelm, and reclaim your true identity and purpose, and lead with confidence. Have you ever had that experience where you ask your kids to clean up and they moan or they whine or they pretend that they can't hear you? And that just seems to you like an act of disrespect, or they're selfish, or they want a confrontation. I'll be honest, I've overheated in many of these situations. Problem is, my perception of whether it was disrespect or whether it was selfishness may not at all be the experience they're having. My virtual reality glasses are telling me one thing. Their experience might be totally different. And what's the consequence when I get frustrated and I snap back? Our kids learn to not trust their own internal experience of the world, or not trust us. So it's really important that we come to understand, how are these virtual reality glasses giving us a picture of reality, and how can we program them to be far more accurate? So it's really important for us to learn how to understand how our virtual reality goggles are programmed, and more importantly, how to reprogram them so that we get a much truer understanding of people's motivations and how situations are really unfolding. Now, before I can reveal how to totally shift those virtual reality glasses to reality glasses, we need to go over a few things about how to understand how our minds are programmed to create the virtual reality in the first place. What I'm about to tell you comes from the work of neuroscientists and psychologists over the last more than 50 years. And I want to lay it out in a simple, easy to use form that you can use to change your life. I wish I had known these ideas when I was younger. And I mean, knowing how to reprogram the mind to see reality more clearly, it's really useful, isn't it? I hope all of you will master this for yourselves and teach it to your kids as well, so they get a huge head start in growing their ability to connect and collaborate with anyone. The first thing I want to talk about is what the psychologists who created the discipline of neurolinguistic programming, or NLP, what they call representational systems. Representational systems are basically our senses, how we get input from and experience our reality: see, smell, hearing, taste, also what we feel in our bodies, plus the self-talk that we hear in our heads. And that self-talk might be helping you make a great decision, or it might be beating you up. Either way, our self-talk, along with our sense experiences, are how we experience the world. And yes, your self-talk, your inner reasoning and judgments, are as important as your senses for how you perceive your reality. We'll talk a lot more about that in a future video. Now let's take a look at an example of a typical conflict between family members. You walk into a room and you say something really important to your child or your partner, and they don't respond. Or maybe they mumble some answer that doesn't make sense and they continue focusing on what they were focusing on before you came in. And that leaves you feeling like you are not being heard, you're not being paid attention to, which maybe means that they don't respect you or you're not important enough for them to give you their full attention. In our own minds, we assume that the person not only heard us, but they heard exactly what we meant to say. Reality is, somebody may not have heard anything you said, but you were 5 feet away from them. So how is that possible? Well, the sounds certainly did reach their ears, and I'm sure they were perfectly audible, yet they may have had little or no awareness of what you said. How could that be? Well, this is where we need some neuropsychology to help us out. When someone is paying attention to something, anything, even daydreaming, the unconscious part of your mind may not actually send the signal from the ear to the conscious mind that there's something new to pay attention to. You see, everything that passes through your senses is first processed by the unconscious or deep mind, and then it may be handed off to your conscious mind as awareness that you felt, heard, saw something. Now, what do you think this is? Studies have shown that the unconscious mind can process almost 1,000 times more information than the conscious mind can. What we're talking about here is an unconscious mind that can process between 12 and 80 megabits per second, and the conscious mind, 126 kilobits per second. 1,000 times more information is coming in from your senses than what your conscious mind can allow you to be aware of. Now, the unconscious mind passes information to the conscious mind only when it thinks it's really important to do so. It can't pass everything. And I know that we all want to think that we're really important to our partner or our kids, and in the bigger picture, I'm sure we are. But the reality is that in the moment that their attention is engrossed in something, their mind is quite likely to not faithfully convey the message that their ears heard to them consciously. So what can you take away from this? Simply that the reality of our neurobiology is that our kids or our partner may not even really be hearing us. Or if they are hearing us, they may only be hearing a part of what we said, or they may actually be hearing a distortion, something quite different than what we said. And it's not at all a conscious choice on their part. It's totally out of their awareness. So when somebody doesn't hear you or hears you wrongly, before you feel offended or lash out in anger or make some judgment about how selfish they are, you can give them some grace, knowing that their brain absolutely may never have relayed your message or not relayed it correctly. I hope then you can get back to focusing on what really matters: connection. See if you can pull off those virtual reality goggles and develop the habit of being curious. What was going on for them? What were they focused on? Just maybe you'll learn something about them that's really important. Find out what they heard and trust that what they say they heard, at least what they became aware of, is really what they experienced, even if it's totally different than what you said. If you've stayed with me up to this point, you are the type of person that's willing to dig in and learn how to transform yourself and your relationships. So in my next videos, I'm going to show you how the mind actually deals with all that information coming in from the senses and how it actually makes decisions about what is important and what you become aware of or don't. Once you understand how that happens, you can learn to decode the virtual reality glasses that you're wearing and that they're wearing and start to reprogram yours, creating a massive impact in how we communicate and connect with the people we love. Remember to check out our related Mercury Coach videos linked below on children's needs for connection, autonomy, mastery. And if this video was useful and you'd like more great content, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel and our mailing list from the links below. It means a lot to us and helps us spread the word about how to master the deep mind and how doing so can change how we parent. And that, my friends, will change the world.